Alright, I have done a little bit more research, or, I mean, I did just a little bit of research on how to kind of do some mic stuff, like do noise suppression filters and compressors and stuff, so hopefully things will sound a little bit better. And I turned the gain on my mic all the way up, so I won't be as quiet now. Basically, hopefully everything about the audio quality is going to be a bit better this time. I hope. I don't know though. We'll find out soon enough. I'll keep tweaking things as things go on. But we're back at it, learning some Python on learnpython.org. It is 6 a.m. I have not been getting very good sleep. I have not been good about my sleep schedule recently, so I'm just gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna be doing a lot of coding today or a lot of tutorials today or anything. I didn't sleep a lot last night, and I'm not tired now. I'm just having trouble sleeping recently and thinking. Hopefully it won't be a problem though, but this will just be a short little stream and recording. Oh boy. Yeah, I hope the audio is all good. I don't really know how to do this stuff. Okay, well, we're gonna get started with functions. Functions are a convenient way to divide your code into useful blocks, allowing us to order our code, make it more readable, reuse it, and save some time. Also, functions are a key way to define interfaces so programmers can share their code. I'm just reading aloud, basically. I'm not even mentally all there right now. How do you write functions in Python? As we have seen on previous tutorials, Python makes use of blocks. A block is an area of code written in the format of this. Oh boy. Yeah, my goal was for this stream to sound a bit less like an ASMR stream. Like I don't have to have like the mic so close to my face. I think I have to work on something is making my S's sound weird. I don't know if that's just me or if that's coming through in the recording, but oh well. We'll worry about that later. Block line is more Python code, even another block, and the block head is of the following format. Block keywords you already know are if, for, and while. Okay. They're defined using keyword def, following the function's name as the block's name. For example, def my function. Print hello from my function. Oh, okay, so that doesn't print because we didn't call the function. So this, if you do, I think it's called calling the function. If we were to use this function, it would print hello my function. Maybe I can, hold on, let me see. I don't really know. Would it just be my function? Would I just type that in and it would... Okay, that did something. That didn't do what I thought it would, but it did something. Okay, functions may also receive arguments, variables passed from the caller to the function. Def my function with args. Hello. What? Oh, see, yeah, that doesn't work either because it doesn't, the function doesn't like activate or call or whatever. So if you use the function and then you put a username and a greeting in, then it'll say, hello, username from my function. I wish you a greeting. I don't know, man. Functions may return a value to the caller. Variables passed from the caller to the function. What is the caller? Functions may receive arguments. For example, functions may return a value to the caller using the keyword return. For example, sum two numbers, return a plus b. Okay, see, that's not going to work either. These are all just, like, they show me, but they don't actually do anything. How do you call functions in Python? Simply write the function's name followed by parentheses, placing any required arguments within the bracket. Let's call the functions written above in the previous. Okay, that's what we're going to do now. Define our three functions. So this will print a simple greeting. This one print. Wait, so that's what I did earlier, right? I just typed this in. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I need to put parentheses here and run it. Start session. Run. Hello from my function. Okay, so I just forgot you just have to randomly put empty parentheses there. Alright, so this has the parentheses. This one says my function with args John Doe and a great year. And then this is the sum of those two numbers. Oh, this will hold the value. So if I go like this and say print x, then it'll say 3. There we go. Okay, cool. We're learning. In this exercise, use an existing function while adding your own to create a fully functional program. Add a function named list benefits that returns the following list of strings. More organized code, more readable code, easier code to use, allowing programmers to share and connect code together. Okay, add a function named buildSentenceInfo, which receives a single argument containing a string and returns a sentence starting with the given string and ending with a string is a benefit of functions. Run and see how functions work together. Oh boy. Okay. Modify this function to return a list of strings as defined above. So wait. So define list benefits. That returns is okay. So it returns. Alright, I guess this is an array, right? Or a list. So we say more organized code. I'll have to check later if my keyboard is audible in the recording also. I don't want to be clicking and clacking too much. Although I guess that's not such a big problem since we're coding here. More readable code. Oh boy, where's the home row? Here we go. And then it's wrong. Easier code reuse. I just realized that I'm basically typing in all the benefits of a function. Oh wait, no, these are the benefits of a list. That's why the function is called list benefits. I see. Okay. It's more organized code, more readable code, easier code reuse, and then allowing programmers to share and connect code together. Okay, well, I hope that's all good. And then it says add a function named buildSentenceInfo. This is buildSentenceBenefit. Modify this function to concatenate to each benefit is a benefit of functions. Okay, so add a function named buildSentenceInfo. which receives a single argument containing a string and returns a sentence starting with the given string and ending with the string is a benefit of functions. We modify this function to concatenate to each benefit is a benefit of functions. You know, this says it defines name the benefit of functions. List of benefits equals list of benefit. Wait, list of benefits equals list benefits. For benefit in list of benefits, print build sentence benefit. And then it calls the function name the benefit of functions. So this is defined here and then called here. And then this function list of benefits. Oh, okay, so this creates a variable called list of benefits. Okay, so this is a function, name the benefits of functions. It creates a variable called list of benefits. And then there's a name for that when you create a variable that's specifically in a function. I can't remember what the name is, but and then this calls this function defined earlier, define their list of benefits. It calls that, which returns this list here. And then for the benefit in the list of benefits, print build sentence benefit. And build sentence benefit. But then, okay, really quick, just so I don't get too confused. I'm gonna put that back the way it was. Okay, so let's modify this function to concatenate each benefit. So this will print this function, build sentence benefit, and then return this. It'll return a string. It just says it'll return a string. That can't be right, right? I think this part where it says up here to make it say build sentence info, that might be wrong. I think that's just a slight mistake. And if it's not, then we'll figure that out later. But it looks like it's supposed to say build sentence benefit. A function named build sentence info, which receives a single argument containing a string and returns a sentence starting with the given string and ending with the string is a benefit of functions. So for benefit in list of benefits. So each of these strings is a benefit. I'm assuming I have to use the %s thing, huh? Actually, this could be pretty simple. Maybe it's %s is a benefit of functions. Explanation point. Okay, return %s is a benefit of functions. So if all goes well, I don't know, it says to concatenate. Maybe that means to do the plus thing. Simply write the function's name. It said something about concatenating earlier. Where was that? Am I crazy? I could have sworn it said so and so concatenate something or other. Where did I remember because I was having a hard time pronouncing it when I said it. It tripped over my words. Okay, I'm just gonna see if this works. Nope, that did not work. Okay, so it is not %s as a benefit of functions, but that is progress right there. I figured out that if I type that in, then it does repeatedly say is a benefit of functions. We're halfway there. Okay, so for benefit in benefits, well then it's gotta be this thing right here. So man, good grief. Okay, see, I'm trying to figure out, the answer is here somewhere, but overall it doesn't say exactly how to make it iterate through these. See, that's exactly what I need to do. See, it'll print build sentence benefit. So it prints out based on this function. Man. Concatenate. So, see, the fact that it's saying concatenate makes me think that it's got to be a plus. Oh, see, actually, right here has the quote, but there's a space right here, so I think there's supposed to be a space right there. So maybe it's return benefit plus. Benefit plus is a benefit of functions. Okay, try that. Oh, okay, cool. That was exactly what we were supposed to say. More organized code is a benefit of functions. More readable code is a benefit of functions. Easier code reuse is a benefit of functions. Allowing programmers to share and connect code together is a benefit of functions. Okay. See, it's working out. Everything's coming together. Everything's clicking into place. Even if I'm running on hardly any sleep. Objects are an encapsulation of variables and functions into a single entity. Objects get their variables and functions from classes. Classes are essentially a template to create your objects. Sorry, I was just looking at my stream preview and I realized there's a way bigger delay than I thought. I don't know if that's because I did something in the settings or if just because it says that my average stream bitrate is too high, so maybe it's lagging. I'll just have to figure something out later. Objects are an encapsulation of variables and functions into a single entity. Objects get their variables and functions from classes. Classes are essentially a template to create your objects. Okay, I don't know what that means. A very basic class would look something like this. Class, my class, variable equals blah, define, def, function, self, print. This is a message inside the class. Well, does that run anything? No, it doesn't do anything. So this is just, once again, just showing me what it looks like, but it doesn't print anything. Unless this function was called. Maybe we can do that. Hold on. Wait, that's not right. Function self. I hope this does something. It did not do something. Through an error. Traceback's most recent call. Function is not defined. Defined right there. Right? Did I spell it wrong? Function. Yeah. It literally, it's saying that these are spelled the same. Okay, maybe without self. Hold on. With no argument. Okay, that didn't work either. It just says name function is not defined. It is defined. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably the one who's wrong here, not this thing, but oh well. We'll explain to you why you have to include that self as a parameter a little bit later. Okay, so I think when you define it, this is called a parameter, but then later when you type something into here, it's called an argument. First, to assign the above class template to an object, you would do the following. What does that mean, class template? Does that mean template is another word for class? Anyway, class, my class, variable equals string blah, def function self, my object x equals my class. Does that run anything? Nope. I mean, it runs, but it doesn't output anything. That's interesting. Sometimes you run something and there's no error, but also nothing happens, which means the code is working exactly as intended and it's printing absolutely nothing. Now the variable myObjectX holds the object of the class myClass that contains the variable and the function defined within the class called myClass. Now the variable myObjectX, I don't understand this. It holds an object of the class myClass that contains, it holds an object of the class myClass. So myObjectX is a variable. What is in that variable right now is an object. The object is the class myClass, which contains a variable, blah. Oh, and this is indented also. And so it also contains a function defined within the class called myClass. So myClass is a class that has this variable and this function. And it's in a variable. So you can have a variable that has an object which is a class which contains a variable. That's good to know. Accessing object variables. I think I retained more coding knowledge than I thought, because if I was just coming in here from like zero, like if I was an absolute beginner, this would make no sense at all. This is a pretty good website, but I don't know. I can't speak to whether it would be super useful if you're a complete total beginner. But I mean, all I've ever done is like watch videos and do tutorials on brilliant.org. Let's see. To access the variable inside the newly created object, myObjectX, you would do the following. Class myClass, variable blah, def function, actually myClass, myObjectX dot variable. I think these are methods when it has that dot, that period thing. Or maybe methods have a percent or parentheses afterwards. Does this do something? Oh. Oh, okay, wait. So since this object has this class, because we said dot variable, it printed out blah. I don't get exactly why it printed blah, because there's this print here, but it says this is a message inside the class. There's no other, doesn't say print anywhere else. Okay, so for instance, the blah output would output the string blah. But why? Wait, okay, but this one printed out blah. This one now says print myObject.variable. Okay. Alright, so this just straight up prints blah. This says out one blah, and it has it in like a quote. Why did it do that? Yeah, it says out blah, whereas this one just says blah. why? I don't get the significance of this. This is different than printing, apparently. Whatever is happening in this upper box. Okay. Okay. I trust that eventually I will understand. You can create multiple different objects that are of the same class, have the same variables and functions defined. However, each object contains independent copies of the variables defined in the class. For instance, if we were to define another object in the myClass class and then change the string in the variable above. Oh boy. Yeah, it's important to get an adequate amount of sleep or your brain's not gonna do what it's supposed to. Okay, so okay, class, myClass, variable equals blah. Define function self. This is a message inside the class. Oh, gee willikers. I just don't. Okay, my brain is not working right, so after I finish this section of the tutorial, I think I'm gonna call it. I think my brain has absorbed as much knowledge as it possibly can right now. And what time is it? It's like 6:22. I've only been at this for like 20 or 30 minutes. But I gotta get some sleep. Okay, let me think. Okay, you can create multiple different objects that are of the same class, have the same variables and functions defined. However, each object contains independent copies of the variables defined in the class. For instance, if we were to define another object with the myClass class and then change the string in the variable above. So class myClass variable equals blah def function self. This is the message inside the class. MyObject X equals myClass. MyObject Y equals myClass. Wait, so are these both the objects or are these both? Okay, so yeah, these are two different objects. So is a variable a type of object or is an object a type of variable? Because this looks very similar to when you define a variable. Okay, so they both have the same class. However, each object contains independent copies of the variables defined in the class. So if we were to define another object with the myClass class and then change the string. So there's an X and a Y, and then it says myObject Y dot variable equals Yakety. This would print the X and this will print the Y. So I'm guessing it will print out blah first when it prints this, and then when it prints this, it'll print Yakety. Okay. Okay, maybe I'm understanding more than I think. I don't know how I'm going to retain any of this, though. To access a function inside of an object, you use a notation similar to accessing a variable. Similar to accessing a variable. To access a function inside of an object. Similar to accessing a variable. Wait, so similar to accessing a variable. So class, myClass, variable, blah, def. MyObject X equals myClass. I mean, that's similar to defining a variable. I guess this is what they mean when they say it's similar to accessing a variable. So basically, myObject X dot function. Earlier it was myAccess. or my object X is dot variable, and that did the blah, because that's the variable. Now it's going to access the function. Doesn't that mean we'll call the function? Because if it prints out this is a message inside the class, then that's okay. That's exactly what it does. So accessing, when it says to access a function, it means like this will call this function. So is that just what this period thing does? Wait, what is this? So this one doesn't have a parentheses though. Oh right, that's because it's just a variable. Okay. Whereas in this case, since it's a function, it has to have the parentheses after it, because that's how functions work. And they promised me that I would understand why it said self. Yeah, we'll explain why you have to include that self as a parameter a little bit later. First to assign the class template. Okay. Alright. Oh boy. Okay. Above would print out the message. This is a message inside the class. Okay. Init. The init function. The init function. Oh, it really just has to have 2 underscores on both sides and a parentheses. Okay. The init function. Well, this looks different though. The init function is a special function that is called when the class is being initiated. It is used for assigning values in a class. Class number holder. That's what this class is, number holder. Class number holder. Def init self number. It's a special function called when the class is being initiated. Oh boy. Yeah, I gotta get to bed pretty dang soon. It's used for assigning values in a class. I gotta say, I do not understand at all. So def init self number equals number. Def return number self return self number. Oh boy, we're coding. We're in the thick of it here. Okay, class number holder, def init self dot number equals number, def return number self dot number, var equals number holder 7, print var dot return number, prints 7. I'll take your word for it. So it's a special function that is called when the class is being initiated. It's used for assigning values in a class. So this is the class being initiated. I suppose that's what init stands for. Oh, gee. Oh, man. Okay. Self number. Wait, so this second function, the return number self, it returns self.number. Up here, self.number equals number. So this is the variable. It has the class number holder, and I guess this is an object also. And then in number holder, the argument put into it is 7. But this isn't a function, so I don't know if that's called an argument, because this is a class, and this is not defined with parameters. So I'm not sure how this works. But you initiate the class, and maybe these are parameters? Self number, and then it says self.number equals number. I feel like I'm missing something very crucial. Alright. Var equals number holder 7. So print var, and then dot and return number. So that calls this function. So this is basically calling the function inside the class, which is inside this object. And this is that object. It calls a function. The parameter of this function is self. And what it does is returns self.number. And this is self.number. I guess they did say earlier they would explain what self, like why self needs to be a part of this, but they haven't really explained that yet. I hope I'm not supposed to understand that for when I do the exercise at the end. So self, and then comma number. I mean, they're just showing me what you're supposed to use this for, but not really explaining it at all. It just says it's a special function that is called when the class is being initiated. It's assigning values in a class. So it assigns the value. I guess if we ignore this self thing, it's assigning the value number. And then ignoring self again, it just is dot number equals number. So I'm just going to assume that when you put this object here in the print and then do the dot return number, since this object has number holder in it, and then one of the functions here is return number and the parameter is self and it returns self number, that basically, I mean, it's doing basically what it says it will. It'll print 7 because we put 7 here. So if I print does that just mean anything I put here will work? Hold on. We'll try another number. Okay, so that works. What if I do a string? Because it didn't say it has to be an integer. Hello. Whoops. Rolled. Alright, so that's how that works. I'm also guessing, since Python's like a high-level language and it has a lot of this stuff built in, I'm guessing that this is some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes when you use regular built-in Python functions. It's doing something like this. Necessarily complicated things that are abstracted, I think is the term. It abstracts it so I can't really see what's going on behind the scenes. We have a class defined for vehicles. Create 2 new vehicles called car1 and car2. Set car1 to be a red convertible worth $60,000 with the name of Fair, and car2 be a blue van named Jump worth $10,000. Wait, so you define the vehicle class. Okay, we have a class defined for vehicles. Define vehicle class, I think that's already done. Create 2 vehicles called car1 and car2. My code goes here. What? Oh, good grief. What am I looking at? Okay, so this is the class defined for vehicles. This part, I guess I'm not supposed to touch at all. That's just part of the code, and I assume this part. Car1 and car2. Set car1 to be a red convertible worth $60,000 with name Fair, and car2 to be a blue. Alright. Okay, so this class has to be used multiple times. Right, so I'm guessing that when I use the class the first time, I'm supposed to change this name part to Fair, the color to red, the kind to be convertible, and the value to that. Okay, and then it's def description self. Self.name, self.color, self.kind, self.value. Return. Alright, so I guess this returns description string is what that's short for. It returns that. And then these %s's will basically make it say the name is a color, kind, worth, value. And this, once again, it's doing the self thing. Okay, so the class is designed for vehicles. Alright, the answer is up here somewhere, I know it. I hope I don't have to use this thing. Because this was the one, this init function is the part I absolutely didn't understand. So this part is about making different objects that are of the same class. So I need car1 and car2. Both of them are going to equal vehicle. Wait, yeah, class, my class. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with car1 equals vehicle. Okay, and let's see. Up here it was, okay, yeah, so you put the parentheses afterwards. Car1 equals vehicle. If I can figure this out once, it should be simple to just do it twice. Car1 equals vehicle. And then they went with this, and it's dot variable equals that. So that means in this case, I should be able to say, oh wait, what happened up here again? Okay, so maybe I should just create the two cars and give them the same class, which is vehicle. Car2 equals, whoops, that's not equals, equals vehicle. Okay, and then we'll do some stuff here. Okay. Car1 dot name. Alright, what did we do up here? Car1 name. Yeah, dot name equals, and then you can change the string. Okay. Yeah, these are all strings, so this should actually be pretty simple. So car1 name equals oh man, I could see the sun coming up. Good grief. Okay, car1 name equals, wait, what are we gonna call this? The name was there. R1 dot. There might be a more streamlined way to do this, but I'm just gonna brute force it essentially. R1 dot kind equals I guess convertible, yeah. Convertible. I didn't know convertible was spelled like that. I just realized. I guess I assumed it was convertible, like as in it's able to be converted. But I guess it's convertible, unless they just spelled it wrong. Okay, car1 dot color equals. And people make like entire websites doing this stuff. That's wild. And like 3D games and everything. Red. Oh man, I gotta sleep. My brain is not... I'm not firing on all cylinders. Okay, and then the last one was value. Does that... I mean, I guess since it's not a string, I should just just type in, yeah, because, okay, so in up here, the dollar sign's included, so I guess just type in the number. Okay, so the first one is $60,000. 60, maybe I shouldn't do the commas. 3.00, okay. Oh boy. Okay, so let's do this all again. Car2 dot name equals it's named Jump. Jumbo. Okay, Jump. Okay, car2 dot kind equals, this one was a van. Car2 dot, if this doesn't work, I might just look at the solution and then just come at it again tomorrow and see if I can figure it out, because I don't have a clue really. Blue, and then car2 dot value equals, this one was 10,000.00. All right, and then, okay, so my code goes here. They're both the class vehicle, but these things here will let me change all of that stuff, and then it will print out car.description. Yeah, and it says self here again. I really hope that becomes clear later. Oh my gosh, that was exactly correct. Wow. Okay, I do want to look at the solution to see if maybe it's supposed to look different. Okay, so the way they did it slightly different. I put car 1 and car 2 right next to each other. Whereas they did car 1 and then did all this stuff and then said car 2 and did, but that means I learned even more, because now I know that it can work both ways. Perfect. Okay. That is fantastic. Things are going great. Next tutorial. Close dictionaries. Yeah, I'm just gonna tackle this later. I think now's a good time to stop and maybe get a little bit of sleep, and also I can review my footage later and see if anything sounded weird or if anything weird was going on with the stream. I should probably do shorter streams early on, so I can, not have too much footage that's all janky and scuffed. I'll have more opportunities to tweak settings and things, and hopefully with each stream I'll learn a little bit more. On each recording I'll learn a little bit more about how to properly do all this. Anyway, so time for me to get some sleep, man. I gotta stop staying up so late. I need to fix my sleep schedule. That's probably gotta become a priority of mine. And then things will probably end up going a lot more smoothly at that point. Anyhow, goodbye. So long, good night, good morning. Yeah, it's like the Truman Show. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and goodbye, or whatever. That's definitely not what he says, but you get the gist. Bye bye.